These misconceptions are being amplified and reverberated across our country through anti-trans social media platforms and through targeted political propaganda campaigns. Being shunned and cast out to the margins of society by cohorts, associates, lawmakers, and loved ones was the most hurtful and shocking part of my journey. And what I find most disturbing about 500 anti trans bills written in less than 5 months in my country is that the representatives who wrote and presented those bills believed that they were doing the will of the people they represent. Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me. It's Brandi's World, and I'm Brandi Beckett. Today, we are going to talk about in-group, out-group mentality and how that is hurting transgender communities and individuals. Thus far, up until May, there has been more than 500 anti-trans bills written in these United States in the year 2024. That fact is alarming, and what I find most disturbing about 500 anti-trans bills written in less than 5 months in my country is that the representatives who wrote and presented those bills believed that they were doing the will of the people they represent, which means that there are a lot of powerful people in our country who are under the misconception that Americans are, one, a separate population from transgender people, and two, that transgender people should be excluded from American society and culture. These misconceptions are being amplified and reverberated across our country through anti-trans social media platforms and through targeted political propaganda campaigns. My alma mater school in Florida cannot legally allow me to speak on their campus about my experiences and journey while attending that college, because I had discovered my gender identity while I was a student at that Florida school. I am no longer welcome to my alma mater, nor am I welcome back into the state of Florida because I am a transgender woman. Moreover, beginning the day I started to express my gender identity openly, I had experienced the shunning of exclusion within my cohort in-group and across society. In fact, and in my personal life, my own aunt and godmother, who I once lived with during my young teenage years, told me that I am no longer welcome to step in her home. Being shunned and cast out to the margins of society by cohorts, associates, lawmakers, and loved ones was the most hurtful and shocking part of my journey. For weeks, I cried daily because I was not welcomed into the home of a person who I love dearly and who promised to their God and Creator that she would look after and care for me my entire life. I am not welcome into my godmother's home because of who I am. I said that story to a dear and wise friend of mine, Donna, and Donna responded to my story of not being welcomed into my aunt's home by simply pointing out to me that I was not welcomed into my aunt's home, not because of who I am. No. I am not welcomed into my aunt's home because of who she is. Transgender communities literally are being pushed to the margins of society in these United States in the second decade of the 21st century because of misinformation and biased misconceptions about transgender people. In our country's in group, out group mentality, transgender communities have been labeled the out group and pushed to the margins of society. In group, out group mentality is not unique to our country or society, nor is this in group, out group mentality unique to our time in history. In group, out group mentality has evolved as part of a defensive strategy for our human species. In fact, this in group, out group mentality has been part of our human behavior going back at least 300,000 years, because that's how long we've been humans. For most of human evolution, our ancestors lived in small, tight-knit groups of individuals. And these groups would have consisted of somewhere between 6 to 8 individuals, and maybe up to groups of 30 to 50 individuals. And on occasions, maybe they gathered with other small groups to total no more than 150 people. That was it. Your entire world would have consisted of just a handful of trusted people within your in-group. And for most of our evolutionary journey as humans, we were not at the top of the food chain pecking order, so those not in your tightly knit in-group would have been thought of as out-group and dangerous to the well-being of the individuals within the in-group. We as humans only started living in large groups of individuals when we started to cultivate agriculture and domesticate livestock, and that happened somewhere around 12 to 15,000 years ago. Therefore, for more than 285,000 years, our evolutionary journey depended on small groups of individuals, and it had developed a robust concept of to protect and to trust those within the in-group, and to fear and to shun those in the out-group. Today, according to Wikipedia, there are 49 megacities on Earth, each with more than 10 million individuals. And in the 21st century, our human population has ballooned to more than 8 billion people. In the year 1800, less than 3% of the human population lived in a city environment. And the largest city in the world at the time, London, had a population of only 1.1 million people. And New York City had about 60,000 people. My point is, living in large groups is very novel and recent in our evolutionary journey. And our concept of small individual in-group, out-group mentality, it has not grafted well onto our human population explosion. But that does not mean that this type of mentality should be used as a weapon to harm transgender communities. What this means is that we need to include and welcome more transgender individuals into our in-group structure. When we encounter an unfamiliar concept, culture, or person, our human instinct to label said concept, culture, or person as othered or not of my group attitude kicks in, and we tend to treat those concepts, cultures, and people with measurable inequality and out-group biases. This is one of the major reasons that transgender people are being treated so unfairly in our country. Most people don't have a pre-made or a safe space to welcome transgender individuals into their in-group because as a society, we have not adequately created those spaces for transgender communities and individuals. Look, transgender people and communities have been pushed to the margins of society in these United States. And we need all of your allied help to bring us back into the folds of society where we belong. No socially oppressed minority group can pull themselves from the margins of society and back into the folds of society on their own. It takes a village. No, it takes an entire society to help us take our rightful place within the folds of society. It takes you and millions like you to create that safe space for transgender individuals and communities to exist in our in group. As a transgender activist, I have two goals, and I will not rest until these two goals are reached. And these goals are quite simple. One, I want social and legal equality for transgender individuals and communities. I want social normality for transgender people. That's it. Equality and normality. But to reach those goals will take all of you, all of your friends, all of your associates, all of your relatives, all of your cohorts. Basically, we need you and all other cis people to create a space for us in your in group. Thank you.